Anyway, I'm Tommy from 1039 The Bear, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be with one of the guitar greats, Slash. Pleasure to meet you, man.
How's it going?
It's going great, man, and I gotta tell you, World on Fire, great record. You know that, though.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty proud of it. I think it was a really great example of showing how the band has grown from 2010 to up until the present. You know, like we really sort of escalated, and now we're working on stuff for the next record. But in the meantime, we're just having a great time touring, and everybody knows all the songs, and it's a cool feeling.
Well, you know, I noticed like this time when you guys were working on the record, I loved all the video stuff you guys did, the behind the scenes stuff. You guys were in the studio showing the process. You know, I'm a gearhead. I like seeing the tape machines and the console and stuff like that, but it seemed more like more of a band vibe this time versus maybe you and Miles previously, or just you and all the guest singers.
No, it's definitely turned into a band. I mean, the thing was initially all I was doing was like putting something together real quick to support my first solo record. And we went out on the road. You know, I met Brent Fitz. He introduced me to Todd Kearns. I first worked with Miles on that record, and so we threw it together. It was a 2-month tour, and it ended up being an 18-month tour. And it was during that period that I started thinking, I was going to make another record. I just do it with these guys.
Yeah.
And then that turned into another year-long tour, and we started to really develop this bond, but also because there's just a natural chemistry from the get-go. And all the guys are great. All they want to do is play. There's no bullshit. No hassles, and so we just, you know, got this thing started steamrolling, and then wrote the material for World on Fire while we were out on the road for Apocalyptic Love, and went in the studio and really had developed this sort of musical and creative rapport, and now we're just, it's really sort of turned into a full-fledged band, you know. So.
Well, I'll tell you, the riffs, I mean, all throughout the album, I'm going, God, man, you still got the fire. I love it.
Well, I appreciate that, but I mean,
you know how it is. A lot of guys burn out, but man,
I really dig it, man. I love everything, you know, the good and the bad that goes along with what it is that I do, and I live and breathe it, and it's you know, probably I could probably use some therapy or something, because I mean, most of the guys who are considered my peers are like pretty burnt on the whole thing, but I just keep digging and doing it, and I love playing guitar and I love writing stuff, and it's just cool, you know.
Well, it shows on the record. And, you know, a lot of people can't make a record like that in this end of their career. You know, all those riffs. I mean, I listened to the thing front to back. I even dug the last record with all the guest singers on it as well, you know. I thought that was great. But this one really felt like a vibe. And it just felt like we were really getting all those riffs we've been missing from you for a long time.
The next one's going to be pretty badass, judging from what we've written already. So
you guys are on it already then, huh? All right.
This is where we do it.
Right.
We're touring. It's like where there, you know, you're playing every night, and so it just gets those sort of creative juices going. And I just keep a guitar with me all the time. And if I have an idea, I record it. And I just, by the end of the tour, I've accumulated a lot of stuff. A lot of it we've worked out at sound checks along the way, and it starts to develop. So by the time the tour is over, we can get in and start doing pre-production.
You know, now I like the fact you guys still tracking on tape, then going to hard drive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I just made a phone call to Mike, you know, Elvis, the other day, just to make sure what the cost is compared to digital, and it's cost effective, and so I love the sound of tape. I mean, digital just hasn't gotten to that point yet where they can make the drums and the guitar sound the way that they should sound. You know, for a rock and roll band, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, going back to the riff, I know you have a ton of guitars. You know, you got your signature Les Paul, your Marshall amp. Is there one or two guitars that, you know, when you're sitting there like now, what's that one that brings the magic? Is there one that just every time you touch it, here's a riff?
Nah, you know, I have a guitar that I love to use when I'm recording, and I've been using that same guitar in the studio since 1986. Wow. But the longer that I've been doing this, the more I realize all you need is a good guitar.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be special. It doesn't have to be vintage. It doesn't have to be. You just have to find something that feels good to you and that is functional, and you know, that's basically it. I don't think there's one guitar you pick up. It's like a 4-leaf clover or something, where it's just like the magic happens. You know, it's really in the person.
Well, you seem to be like a straightforward rock guy. You know, it's vocals, guitar, bass, drums, no backing tracks. What do you think about these bands using the helpers?
Well, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but it sort of it bums me out because what it really does, and they don't seem to realize it, is it kills the sort of spirit of what rock and roll really is about, which is sort of a people-oriented thing, and it's really about musicians working together and playing together, working off each other, and that sort of friction that happens and that spark. And so when you start, using a lot of gizmos to sort of fake what you're doing, or maybe you're phoning it in from one state, another guy's in another place, and doing that whole sort of like sending the files around, you just lose the energy and sort of the magic of what makes a rock and roll band really work.
Well, you and I are both from that school of where we listen to a record, we go see them play live, and we don't mind if they change it a little bit because it's live and real.
Oh yeah, well yeah, the whole live aspect. Yeah, that's a whole different. I mean, that just takes that to another level. I can't stand that. I've seen gigs where bands' tapes machines break down and they're just stuck out there. Yeah.
I love it when it happens, though. It makes me feel good. Now, real quick.
I feel uncomfortable for it.
Yeah, real quick. The Savage Son, the new track, and your involvement with IFAW and your quest to help elephants from being slaughtered. How did you get into that? And just tell me a little bit about that real quick and how fans can help out.
Yeah, well, I mean, in short, we wrote a song called Beneath the Savage Sun, was written about elephants from an elephant's point of view, talking about what's going on with the slaughter of elephants for the ivory trade right now. And so we made a video out of it, and we just wanted to raise awareness about what is actually happening. Elephants are facing total extinction in a very short amount of time. And I did the video with an organization called IFA, which is International Fund for Animal Welfare. And they're great wildlife supporters, and they go to the ends of the earth to make things happen for a lot of different species, elephants being one of them. So if you want to support it, make donations or find out more about what's going on, you can go to www.ifa.org. And then if you want to see the video, it's on my website, which is /online.com.
Well, thank you so much for your time, / with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. Great album, World on Fire. Thank you so much for the time, man.
Good talking to you.